Welcome back to Spiritual Emphasis Week. Here's my conversation with Derrick Cruz, Associate Chaplain and Dean of Men in our residence halls.
Hey, what's up, La Sierra fam? We're back here for Spiritual Emphasis Week, and today we have a special guest. We've got Dean Derrick Cruz, who's also the Associate Chaplain here at La Sierra University. And so, Dean Cruz, I just wanted to start so that students could get to know you a little bit. So, could you tell us maybe a little bit about yourself, some like anecdotes, what you're into, and then also and then tell us about your journey to the position you have now.
Hey, so my full name is so my first name is not Dean, but my full name is Derrick Cruz, and as you can tell maybe in my accent, I am a New Yorker. I'm what you call a New Yorican, and that's basically a Puerto Rican who was born and raised in New York City. Yeah, I love, man, Caribbean food. I think that I'm a chill guy. Love the New York Knicks, anything New York, but I love the West Coast. Moved out here 2011, so I consider myself to be a Californian. What are some things that I enjoy doing? I enjoy reading. I enjoy just hiking. You know, I'm a Californian now, so yeah, that's pretty much it off the top of my head.
Cool, man. Now, you double, right? You're doing double duty. You're associate chaplain, but then you're also a dean in our residence halls. And so, tell us a little bit about your journey to your current position right now.
Yeah, so currently, I basically, as a dean, I help to oversee the spiritual formation of our residents, and of course, do admin work, connect with the students, and make sure that they're living in a safe environment in order for them to be successful. And then, of course, the connection with that with spiritual life is that I help with some other events, for example, a Sabbath school, dorm worship. And again, I try my best to make that connection overall.
Mm. So La Sierra has been a big part of your life, kind of up to like right now you're employed at the university, but this isn't like your first exposure to La Sierra. In fact, you're a graduate of La Sierra University Divinity School, right?
No, so for sure. So I got my undergrad in religious studies and then my master's in theological studies here at La Sierra. I'm a product of this school. This school has shaped me in wonderful ways. And it was actually a pleasure to have this opportunity to come back and to give back what La Sierra gave me. So moved here 2011, excuse me, straight to the dorm. And I didn't think, so since we're talking about res life here in the school, I didn't think I was going to stay long term in the dorm. I told myself, hey, I'm going to get this dorm experience and then I'm going to, maybe find my own place. But I just love the community here. I love like the programming and just connecting with others and just being able just to live on campus. And yeah, I stood and never left, became an RA, eventually a student dean. Course went off, graduated, was pastoring for a while in various churches, and then made my way back to residential life here.
It's like a magnet, man, just keeps drawing you back.
Well, seriously, like, whenever I would just like kind of drive through Riverside or think about Riverside, I would, be excited and just a smile would be on my face because of the positive experience that I had here. And people would just say, man, what's in Riverside? There's not much going on there. And I'm like, bro, it's cool.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
Because of the school.
Now, I remember my experience dorming too in my undergrad experience. And it was fun because I felt like I was, living with all my best friends, right? Just kind of in the same space. Always like people there to be able to talk with if you needed to process stuff. Just people to have fun with all the time.
Yes. No, and it was kind of cool. Like even at times if you were going through maybe like a crisis or something, there's always someone there. And that's important, right? Like not feeling like you're alone. And being able to connect with someone immediately in your living space is a sweet deal.
Yeah, so let's talk res life a little bit, res life and spiritual life, and how that kind of comes together, because obviously like this school year has been much different than right in the past. And so there have been certain challenges with COVID, but there are people living on campus, right? And like what have been some of the challenges for you that you've had to kind of deal with, as far as like some of the logistics of people living on campus and working that out?
Yeah, so a part of it's been a bit of a challenge, because how do we now connect? I'm thinking about when the pandemic hit, and at that moment, right, the big challenge was how do we connect with our students now in a different way, right? Because before we'd be able to just meet in groups and just be less, a little bit less than 6 feet and connect, with our residents. And it was a big challenge, because now we have Zoom. Now, will this be something that is viable? Will they be able to connect? Will it be meaningful, right? Because when you're meeting in person is different from the virtual world. So that was a big challenge. And the other thing, just to think about everyone's mental wellness, right? Are we connecting with them? Do they feel right alone? And how can we kind of help make them feel that they're at home, and that they're part of some sort of a community that is helpful for them? But I think it's been a lot of work, but we've been able to tackle that, by way of meeting online, right? In the beginning, we thought that it wasn't going to be successful, but I noticed that at some point we just kind of got used to it a little bit, and we've been able to make meaningful connections and also do things on campus or events in a safe and appropriate way. Real quick, just a testimony from a student that I'm giving Bible studies to. He's a brand new student. And I asked him the other day, I said, hey man, how are you doing on campus? Do you feel alone? Do you feel disconnected? And he's like, no, even though despite the circumstances, this has been a good experience for me. He's like, of course I'd like to see more people and be able to interact in a different way. But he has been grateful for our staff. He's been grateful for the ways that we've been able to reach out. And he's been able also to make friends. So on one hand, it's been a challenge, and we've been anxious about, whether the students are doing well or not. But on the other hand, we have these testimonies where students are saying, yeah, even though it's different, they've been able to find, happiness and joy.
Man, that's so cool. Especially for the students who are able to be residents. And so, the next question has to do specifically with advice, right? Because a lot of our students are at home. And, one of the things about being at home is, this is a space where you live, you have family. Sometimes your space isn't your own, right? Et cetera. And this has kind of been the reality for a while now, right? A few months. And so what are some of the practices that you've been able to engage with personally that have help you spiritually, right? That have just kind of helped keep you fed during the moment spiritually? Because I know that this has gone on a long time. It's kind of wearing on all of us, right? So what's been working for you?
Okay, so let me start off by saying that at some point, I want to say a couple of months ago, it was getting really tough on me. Like I was feeling a little bit frustrated, because every year I try to visit family on the East Coast. So usually I go to either New York, or this year we were trying to go to Florida because I have some family members there. And not being able to do that was really, really frustrating. And I was thinking about a few months back about the Apostle Paul, when he talks about having a thorn in his side, and he asked God 3 times to to take it away. And I think we felt that way during this pandemic. probably been telling God and just this whole situation, we just want this whole situation to go away. And it hasn't. Of course, it has improved in a lot of ways. There's progress, but some of us still feel like we're in the same space. And then just to go back to Paul real quick, he said something interesting. After he asked God to take the thorn from his side, he said, God's grace is sufficient. So when I think about that, and when I was thinking about this concept and this idea, I thought about purpose, and I thought about how can I repurpose myself. So when things get rough, how do I now look at my life and say, okay, what does this all mean, and where do I fit into all of this? So I started to look at my surroundings, and I said, you know what? Zoom and all these ways of connecting in the virtual world was never really my thing. I'm more of a personal person, but guess what? Now, hey, we're gonna have to use it. Started to use it, started to reach out to family, right? This way, and it's been working. I've been able to have meaningful connections and conversations with family members, even more often than usual, right? Because on one hand, okay, we're not together, but hey, on the other hand, now we get to see each other often, and we've always had this. We just never thought about using it. So I just suggest connecting with our loved ones. The other thing I said to myself, okay, I can't travel to the East Coast. I can't go to New York. I can't go to Florida. What else can I do in terms of travel? I started to look at different places where I can hike around here. And I've been doing a lot of walking, trying to get my 10,000 steps in a day.
I'm with it.
Right? So, and guess what? I'm learning that, hiking there's no fee to it. It's free, right? So I'm just learning different things that I can do in order to, of course, work out, feel good about myself, and just explore something new. Look for new hobbies, right? There might be some things that you may be good at, or some things that may give you joy that you don't know unless you try. So again, connect with family, think about your purpose in the here and now, and then hobbies. What are some new things you could kind of engage in? And that's what helped me. That's what's helping me survive.
I really like that. I really like that, Dean, because you're talking about, some of these different aspects of our life and how that all kind of feeds us. And so like talk about you were talking about like hiking, that sort of idea, connecting with family. How do those things feed your spirit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So okay, when we connect with those who love us deeply or conditionally, it reminds us that our lives mean something, right? And I know that during this time we've been, sheltering in place, and a lot of the times if we're just if we're alone, or if we're not really connecting with others, of course, all these questions about our lives, pop up, and we either feel good about ourselves or bad about ourselves. And the positive thing and the spiritual thing about connecting with our loved ones is that they help us with our purpose and meaning. So when I do talk to family and friends, they remind me of my call. They remind me that that my life means something, and that's a good feeling. And that's what helps me move forward. Now with the hiking and kind of the hobbies, it just keeps your mind, off of things sometimes, right? It keeps your mind just steady on just living in the moment. And I think that's important, right? Because in the beginning, we thought, in the beginning of the pandemic, oh, this is going to be over. This is going to be about a month, and then that's it. And when that didn't happen, I think some of our stress level, right, rose up. And when we do things like engage with nature and hobby, whatever that is, if you collect cards, if you read, if you engage in some sort of artwork, it helps you live in the moment. It helps you just remember that you're human.
For those of you who would like to get connected, again, you could email us at spirituallife@lasierra.edu, or you could slide into our DMs on Instagram. We'll see you later.